Welcome into Northside Territory, Foul Territory Network's Cubs podcast. I'm Sahadev Sharma with my partner Patrick Mooney. We are your Cubs beat writers over at The Athletic. And Patrick, there have been some whispers, maybe loud calls for Dansby Swanson to be benched. He sat for 2 games, I believe. It's been that's almost 2 weeks ago now. Um, and that was not that reset or whatever you want to call it. It did not get the job done as far as resetting Dansby and getting him to look good offensively, at least. And Dansby hit a 2-run homer Wednesday night. It was perfectly fine. It was a ball that was blown by the wind into the shallowest part of Wrigley Field, but it counts nonetheless. Nobody would be pointing out those caveats if he was red hot, so it's kind of unfair to take it away from him. So maybe those comments get quieted for a brief moment, but I feel like unless he's in the bottom 10 in baseball in batting average, weighted runs created plus. One of the worst offensive everyday players going right now. But there's a reason he's out there, right? He's got an elite glove and elite at one of the most important positions.
Yeah, I mean, this direct question has come up this week at Wrigley Field, and by all indications, at least for now, the Cubs are not planning on benching Swanson for any extended period. I mean, I do wonder if Nico Hoerner was hitting, would that be different? But probably not. I mean, that's just the message we've received is the best version of this team in their mind is with Dansby Swanson playing Gold Glove defense at shortstop, and they are willing, or they may not have much of a choice, to let him keep running out there. And they're clearly enormously invested in him, financially. And his defense is that good. I mean, let's be honest here. He is an exceptional defender, but he's also just been an awful hitter recently. And I think this is kind of a tension point that we didn't necessarily foresee when the Cubs were ripping off 10-game winning streaks. And Dansby did have a nice power surge at the beginning of the year too that made you wonder if some of these adjustments would stick or if something had clicked for him. But when the offense as a whole is just underperforming to this extent, it gets a lot harder to hide him as a number 9 hitter in your lineup.
Yeah, last year when he was struggling, the rest of the offense was clicking. That was when Pete and Tucker were red hot, and the offense was among the best in baseball. You could kind of hide him at the bottom of the lineup and not have to worry about him coming through. Nobody was complaining as much because they were winning a ton of games, and the offense was not an issue. When those guys went cold, Dansby actually was playing better. I would say that it seems like the smart bet would be on Dansby, on water finding its level type situation. But there's always moments where this is the start of something for a guy in his 30s, the start of a downfall. He was feeling good after the game on Wednesday. We talked to him, and he basically said, he's been putting in a lot of work. And I've been talking to him. We've all been talking to him about the work he's been putting in for weeks. This is not anything new. But he felt like good work was being done and results were inevitable. We'll see if Wednesday was the start of something. I understand the thought process of what Craig Counsell is talking about when I asked about, how much, when do you have to start weighing when does the offensive struggles outweigh what he brings on defense? He basically, he didn't give a direct answer outside of the best version of this team is with Dansby Swanson playing better. So his point was we need to get him out there to get him back in a rhythm, and then that is our best chance of winning baseball games with the better Dansby Swanson. I understand that argument. I think it makes sense. I think the counter to that is how much of a downgrade is it if you play some of these kids at second base with Nico at short and have a better offense? Um, I'm not sure it's this huge downgrade. Uh, Council was, straightforward with his answer that it's a worse defensive team. He's probably right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much the metrics actually love Dansby Swanson. Since he's been with the Cubs, he's the second or first best uh, shortstop defensively by the advanced metrics. Um, they all love him. And when we watch him, I don't think there's any doubt in our minds how good he is. There's no reason to doubt the metrics because he looks great out there and makes every play and more. Uh, so there's clear value to him being out there. Um, Patrick, let's take a quick break and then talk about I guess some of the options that could be there beyond beyond Dansby Swanson. All right, it is the summertime, and if you were like me, you're going to want to get out of the house and get to the ballpark. I'm sure you can go find tickets to the Blue Jays series this weekend. Maybe head up to AmFam next weekend and watch the Cubs and see if they can claw back in this division race against the Brewers, which is why I want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. MLB is in full swing. The NBA and NHL playoffs are done. Sorry, this I'm reading something that's not right. MLB is in full swing. You got the NFL schedule out, so go get your NFL tickets. World Cup starts soon. And with SeatGeek being MLB's official ticket marketplace, your tickets are fully guaranteed and instantly fulfilled in your account after purchase. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code Territory10 for 10% off your next set of MLB tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any MLB tickets with promo code Territory10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account. Thank you, SeatGeek. Okay, Patrick. It doesn't sound like Matt Shaw is going to be playing any second base, moving Nico Horner to short, but Matt Shaw is getting more playing time. That much is clear, and he's been back for a little over a week now after being on the IL with a back injury, with some back tightness. Seiya Suzuki tweaked his knee. That means he's DHing. Craig Counsell said that's happening through the weekend. And we won't see Seiya back out in right field till at least the Mets series in New York. Shaw's getting some time in right field. He's going to play against lefties. We know that, but it sounds like he may get a little bit more run in general. We'll see how much, if he's like out there every day this weekend or what. But that's part of what people want to see. They kind of want to see some of these young guys out there. Matt Shaw so far has delivered.
Council acknowledged as much, that he described flying back to Chicago from San Francisco at the end of last weekend and thinking like, we need to get Matt Shaw more involved. And like you said, at this point, it doesn't sound like reps at second base or even much time at third base. But when Alex Bregman struggles like this, when the offense as a whole is underperforming, I think you have an opening to at least get him more time in right field, and just to get him in a rhythm, like in case an injury does happen, or just to provide some sort of spark. I mean, this is what we've talked about for a long time. And I asked Jed this of like, it's a young man's game, as Jed likes to say. And the baseball industry keeps telling us that players in their 30s inevitably declined. And at what point does that cross over to where the Cubs need to, lean on that young talent some more and see what they have? And they're not quite there yet. There's not going to be a full youth movement, but making Matt Shaw a viable part of this team is on the agenda. And we're so focused on Alex Bregman because the Cubs were so focused on Alex Bregman and they felt he was this missing piece. And going back to the trade deadline last year, there's a lot of talk, would the Cubs get a third baseman, Eugenio Suarez? Shaw had a really good second half last year. He wasn't a huge factor in the playoffs, but he was a rookie who wound up being a Gold Glove finalist at a position he was learning on the fly. He was a first-round pick by an organization that's pretty good at developing or identifying and developing that top of the draft hitting talent, particularly out of college. So I think, you're going to see more of him just trying to find any sort of way to ignite this offense again. And he's come through in a couple moments already this homestand.
Yeah, I mean, he broke the seal yesterday with that 2-run triple. I think that's his second triple since coming off the IL. He always has had some opposite field power and gap to gap power. It's showing up right now. He started off hot, got real cold, and then hit the IL. Looks like he's coming off the IL hot. Yeah, this team needs something to kind of get the offense kick-started. They have a pretty set group, but it's clear that Moises Ballesteros may not be getting as much time. I would not be surprised if I get to the ballpark tomorrow and hear that Moises Ballesteros has been sent to the minors, because if say Suzuki's DHing every day, at least through the weekend, you want to get that guy some everyday at bats and find him. I do think he's going to be important. Like, he's part of this youth movement that we talk about. Like, he's going to be important again this season, but right now he's not. He's in a funk, and getting him some everyday at bats makes a lot of sense. But Matt Shaw's the one that's producing right now. Play him. It was just like Conforto. When Conforto was hot, it made sense to get him more at bats. He's cooled off. Okay, who's hot? You gotta find a way to get these guys going. But there aren't that many levers to pull when you have such a set lineup.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, in talking to Hoyer the other day, he had this sort of aside like, I'm kind of surprised there have been this many questions about the offense given how battered the pitching staff is right now. And, he feels like, and I think correctly, there are a few more levers to pull on the position player side, that they do have more options and better depth and, a higher likelihood of some good surprises on that end, whether it's Water finding its level or, Matt Shaw taking a step forward, Pedro Ramirez coming through as a role player in certain situations. But it's like, watching the games every night, you just see what a struggle it is with this offense. And I think there is a psychological component of just how many times the Cubs are up there, and kind of the anxiety rises and the Cubs not coming through. And so the way it was explained to me was like, yeah, these young players give you probably they can have those sort of out of nowhere seasons, but you could also you might watch them every day and get sick of seeing them play at the same time that you know the way baseball works, you know, sometimes you have to bet on the floor, so to speak, and just kind of let your guys play and see what happens. That's not really a satisfying soundbite, but that's what the Cubs are going to do.
Yeah, that you're right. There's more options to go to on the offense. There's a lot more depth. I guess what I was saying is it's going to take a lot for them to really give
Yes,
up
yes.
on these
Mhm.
guys that they've invested in. But there is a young guy that is once again red hot. Let's take a quick break and kind of talk about how the ceiling, like we're seeing a guy who, you know, this is what happens when you let a kid play and the ceiling is being touched.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. So are you ready to play your game? Head over to FanDuel.com/podcast to get started. That's FanDuel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Well, Patrick, like we said, you give young players a chance. Maybe something will happen. Maybe you'll see something special. Pico Armstrong was always going to get a chance. He had the job at center field starting, last year, and he's taken it and run with it. Obviously, last year there was the slow start and he got red hot. This year that slow start lasted a little bit longer. It came in a different form, just looked different, and you thought something may be happening, but the results weren't coming. And they're here. They're here now. They're the tools are loud. The performance is loud. This is obviously a special talent. Uh, One of the best players in baseball. Defense, speed, power. He's got everything right now, and it's kind of all clicking at once. You'd like to see a couple other guys step up, so it's not just him, and this offense can get red hot. But he's certainly single handedly helped them win a couple games as they kind of slog through at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the do something crowd can point to Pete being in the leadoff spot. He's responded really well to that. I mean, although even he would say, like, I should have the same level of focus and attention to detail no matter what the game situation is. But I think the encouraging part, you know, from Council's perspective is that Pete does seem to be a little bit more controlled offensively. I mean, having said that, Pete's gone through some extreme moments already this season. I think there's, if you're kind of just maybe a broader baseball fan or a casual fan, like you see these moments with Pete of like, how could a guy give up 2 Little League home runs and be like the best defender in baseball? But that's what the numbers show, even with those gaffes in center field. And yeah, he was not a great offensive performer for a large stretch of this season, but he's absolutely turned it on. And it is just so PCA to have to hit for the cycle and then get picked off first base immediately. It's just like, of course, just because he is, he's just so compelling. Pretty much every moment out there, you just never know what's going to happen next, and that certainly illustrates it. But what Council was getting at was, Pete stayed in the game mentally, he did not let that affect his next at bat, and he came through with a sacrifice fly that put the Cubs in a position to come back and win that. I believe it was in the ninth. It was another walk off win there, and so you do see that growth, and that's something Pete has explicitly said, that like, I'm better because of these down periods, and as well as these ups, that he is constantly learning. And some of those learning moments can be tough to watch. Clearly he was affected by that interaction on the South Side with a female fan, like that bothered him, that distracted him. But you hope that he's better for it.
Right. He had 3 home runs in this series, 2 leading off in the first 2 games, and then the third. It was interesting, that third home run that he hit. I think he thought it was foul. Quickly watching the replay, we all thought it was foul. And as it kind of lingered, I was like, wait, are they unsure if it kind of scraped the pole and they just can't be 100% certain and they're not going to be able to overturn this? And that's essentially what happened. They just couldn't be certain that it didn't graze the foul pole. I guess there was an angle that it kind of looked like its direction did get altered, so maybe it did.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, it counts. It's a home run, and that's he's on this with what. It's not like we haven't seen this before. We saw this last year where he just got white hot, and just the power surge just comes. It does seem like a better version. He took a walk yesterday, and I liked seeing that, because my concern, and this isn't a major concern, but I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if now that he's hitting, the walks will just disappear completely. No, he's a little bit more patient and a little bit more discerning with the eye. He hits lefties a little bit better, a lot better. This is a more complete version of Pete Crow Armstrong, and that's scary. We'll see on the consistency. We'll see on, can you shrink the bad moments. That's, I think, going to be the key. How long does this last? And then when the inevitable bump in the road comes up, is it 2 weeks or 2 months? How does that look? And ultimately, we'll talk more about this in future episodes. It's not, Pete isn't a problem with this team. We don't need to be concerned about Pete. I think we know he can produce. Will others step up? And you touched on it. Jed was kind of like, I'm surprised to be getting so many questions about the offense. I'm not sure what he meant exactly by that, as like, I'm surprised that if you would have told me 2 months ago what questions I would be getting, I would have thought it would be about the pitching. Or was he just saying, like, I'm surprised you guys are asking about this when there's this big red flashing light going on with our pitching? And it's not just the depth. It's the bullpen's a mess. The bullpen, I like some of these guys in the bullpen, but they almost blew that 8-1 lead that they had, or however big that lead was, 7-0, and then 8-1. They don't have enough pitching in the bullpen. They don't have enough pitching in general. I don't know how. You're gonna have to find a way to fight through until you get to the trade deadline, and then fortify this various areas. But I don't know how they're gonna do it. They've weakened their bullpen by both injuries and by injuries to the starting rotation, moving guys into the rotation. So it's a complicated situation that I don't think has an easy answer other than go get more talent.
Yeah, no, I think it was all of the above, and it was really just sort of an aside, but it was telling that Palencia had just gone on the injured list. Cabrera had not yet exited his start with a cramp, but it was the Matt Boyd trying to get back out to another minor league rehab assignment. Justin Steele back in the room as he attempts his comeback again. All these injuries sort of blurring together to the point where, I think Hoyer's not dismissing the fact that Bregman's underperformed or that Dansby's one of the worst offensive performers in the game at this moment. But and he realizes that 10-game losing streak and why they're kind of this bubble playoff contender now, it is because of that offensive stretch that really sunk them in that moment. But what keeps them up at night, what they're more concerned about, is how are they going to cover the next, hundreds and hundreds of innings with viable, capable pitchers.
Right. All right. Well, we'll talk more about that. That's going to be a topic of discussion, I think, for a while now. So let's wrap this one up. Thanks so much for listening. This is Northside Territory. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to The Athletic, where Patrick and I are on top of all things Cubs. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Take care.